Hey, so this video is something to put out while I make a bigger video that's going to take quite a while because in that video I have to talk quite a bit. I also want to try and do some other things in that video, just some experimental things and see if you guys like it. Although if I do decide to do it, then that means that videos might take a lot longer. Anyways, in this one, I just talk about game OSTs I'd recommend. I mentioned it in my Mario and Luigi video that I primarily listen to game OSTs, and that's kind of the reason why I made this video, just because I mentioned it once. I also want to mention that if an OST isn't on here, that's because either one, I haven't played the game, two, I'm currently playing through it, or three, I just haven't listened to it yet. So I'm sorry for that. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. So, I don't think this is much of a surprise, but like any normal person, I listen to music. And I also play video games, which shouldn't be much of a surprise considering I talk about video games on this channel. And hell, I've even recorded a ROM hack that I played, which, while I've had the thought of recording again, it's always been something in the back of my mind. I've thought of doing some streaming, but I want to get a better PC before I do anything like that. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. So today I thought it'd be cool if I shared some game OSTs I'd recommend. Like my thoughts videos, the OSTs will be in the description in case if you want to check them out. Also, like my other videos, these are just my favorite OSTs. Not the best or some you have to listen to, just some that I like. So, with that being said, let's begin. Number 5. The reason why I say Mario and Luigi Dream Team out of all of them is because I really like the contrast for when you're in the dream world compared when you're in the real world. It still has the same theme, but with different instrumentation, like how the dream world variants feel more distant and soothing, as if you're trying to fall asleep to that song. I can sort of relate to this because, like probably like a few months ago, I could only fall asleep with lo-fi music, and even like in my dreams I could hear it as if like it was like distant in the background, and it felt even more soothing in those dreams. And let me tell you, it was so weird but so cool at the same time when I would wake up and I'd hear it still. God, that was so cool. Oh my lord. Not only that, but like some of the themes I think they nailed really, really well. Like the battle themes, those slap and no one can tell me otherwise. They're so rememberable and you could just anyone that's listened to it or played the game could recognize it in an instant. It's kind of similar to what they did with Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Dead Story, where if you're playing as Mario and Luigi, the music sounded like, I don't know, distant or like compressed is the right word. I'm not really too sure. Anyways, it would be one I would highly recommend. Hell, you might as well play the game while you're at it.
Number 4.
Good old Hollow Knight. The first game I did my first My Thoughts video. This soundtrack is just amazing. Most not the same vibe, which I love, is kind of calming yet adventurous. It's something I don't really see happening in video games anymore, and it kinda sucks. It goes underrated, really. I also believe that most of, if not all, songs can fit any mood, like Resting Grounds, for example. It can be really calming, but also really sad or motivational, or it can be even something serious. This soundtrack means a lot to me, because one, it's nostalgic as hell, for me at least. I remember getting the game on Switch and not really paying attention to the soundtrack, more caring about the adventure that lied ahead, and honestly, I regret that. However, I did pay more attention to it when I got into Green Path, and let me tell you, that's when it hit me on how good the soundtrack is. 2, its community. Thanks to Team Cherry and the Hall Knight Discord, I was able to find some internet friends that are really nice and funny too. 3, this game got me into a brand new genre I love now, being Metroidvanias. It's got me into games that I now just adore, like the Ori games, the Metroid games, another game called Iconolis, and so much more. So to wrap things up, this soundtrack means a lot to me, and it would be amazing if you played the game or at the very least checked out the OST.
Number 3.
Now, this is a game I will always have a special place in my heart for. Mainly because I remember I'd play this with my mom and brother when me and him were like 6 or 7. Anyways, this soundtrack is just magical. It has such a beautiful soundtrack, and honestly, the two most memorable things about this game are the soundtrack and the levels. There's so much more that's amazing about this game that it could be its own separate video. But, anyways, this soundtrack was orchestrated by real people, and it shows. Even some of the most iconic songs are here, like Comet Observatory, Gusty Garden, Bowie Base, Luma, Birth, and so much more. Not only that, but I'll also include Super Mario Galaxy 2, just because this game is just as magical, if not even more magical. They both fit every single emotion just right, like how the song for Luma plays when they're all killing themselves just to save the galaxy. Not only that, but then Birth comes along and then gives you the vibe that your adventure is coming to a close and you just did a wonderful thing and you can finally rest in peace knowing you did a good deed. Now, I'll be honest, these next two were super hard to decide which one gets number 1. And hell, while I was writing this script, I couldn't make up my mind because I love them both severely, and just being able to pick one is so hard. I think these are easily some of, if not the greatest OSTs I've listened to. So, with that being said, here are the top 2 picks for me.
Número 2.
Now, some of you may be wondering why I would put Ace Attorney above Super Mario Galaxy. Well, that's for a couple of reasons. One, because this game's music helped me connect with the characters even more. One example is Maya's theme is cheerful, and knowing that that person's got your back. I feel like if you can enhance a character just by a song, then I would say you've done an amazing job. Number 2, like the majority of these games, it sets the mood very well, and even better than some of the games I mentioned. Like, for example, Testimony, I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Alduro? Alduro? I don't know, I'll just say Alduro. Alduro 2001 says that you're so close to claiming your defendant innocent, but there's just this one testimony blocking your way. Another example is the Turnabout Sisters Ballad. It's emotional, but not as in just sadness. It can also be really happy, or being able to give hopes in others, or in yourself. This is one of those soundtracks that you have to know context in order to connect with it. I would have never expected a game about being a defense attorney have such an amazing soundtrack and a great cast of characters. Well, with that all being said, let's move on to number 1. Number 1. I have picked Amori to be my favorite soundtrack of all time, and for a lot of reasons. One, because like Ace Attorney, the soundtrack helps with being able to connect with the characters, but I think it does it so much better by a metric ton. Some songs like Duet help me connect with Mari and Sunny and just made me feel terrible for the both of them. Another example is See You Tomorrow made me connect with the whole group. All they wanted was to see Mari again, and they wanted to know why she had to go. One final example I'll give is Dear Little Brother. Even though that it's Mari's theme with higher pitched notes and slowed, it made me want to know what happened to Sunny and why he's constantly going through this pain. Another reason is because of its diversity. Each song feels so new when you enter in a new part of Headspace or when something happens. One main example is the battle themes. Every single one is just great to listen to. If you're going to check out the Amori OST, at the very least check them out. The whole soundtrack is so unique and has a lot of charm into it. Hell, even the phobia themes are really nice. They bring out the vibe where they're creepy, but you know you can get through it. And one more reason I'll give is because of the detail. The only thing that comes to mind when I think of this is in the final duet, where Sunny and Mari are playing their instruments, and you can hear Sunny being nervous because his sister wants him to be perfect. So you could just imagine the amount of pressure Sunny has, so it's really understandable why Sunny would be nervous at this recital. And so that's why I pick Amori to my number one favorite soundtrack of all time. Hey, so what'd you think? I know this sounds like a very YouTubery thing to do, but I really want to know what some of your favorite OSTs are. Also, I'm not much of a fan of selling out or plugging something, but now I have an Instagram. So follow me if you want to see other things I draw besides the ones on this channel. Anyways, sorry for the short outro. Thanks for watching and have a good day.